Where are my muscles at, Aleks? Have you seen them anywhere?
Yeah, I took them from you. They are now mine.
Apparently my muscles have gone missing. Where are my muscles? This is the question we're going to answer on this episode of the Pat Flynn Show. The big boys are back.
Big boys answering your questions, buddy.
And somebody dared ask one of the big boys, one of the two big boys. I'm not sure if Sam's still in the club. That's pending. Where his muscles were. Can you believe it, Aleks? I got a comment on YouTube. We shall not mention the username. Doesn't deserve to be mentioned. And I came up, and the first thing I thought is, what sort of low-down, slanderizing, ignorant son of an inbred salmon said this? Where are my muscles? Well, I'll tell you where my muscles are. I've got all the proof you need right here. And at the end of this episode, we're going to put this to rest.
Once and for all.
Once and for all. But sarcasm somewhat aside, I thought this would be a good theme to talk about a couple of things. One is to build on our conversation last week about what makes a good coach or a good mentor. We talked about practicing what one preaches, but also being able to produce predictable, repeatable results in your clients. Also how to deal with haters and losers. Right, Aleks?
That's right.
So yeah, where to begin this conversation? I think let's start on the business side and the platform side. Because Aleks, I know we've both been in the online sphere for a while. And I've been at least engaged in internet conversations, been on internet forums from an unacceptably young age. Let's just say that. And I've been called names on the internet from an unacceptably young age. So I am wholly incapable of really giving any two hoots about anything that anybody has to personally say about me on the internet. But I understand that this is a holdup for many people that want to who want to write, who want to produce content. They are afraid of the haters and losers. So what type of aside from the fact that we all get it, so no matter it's not like anybody is immune from people saying idiotic things on the internet. Aleks, what advice, what encouragement can we give to people who might have this hesitation? By the way, is my mic sounding a little bit better? I know there was a little issue there for a minute.
Yeah, so it kind of goes in and out, but for the most part, it's been sounding pretty good. It's just, every so often it'll crackle a little.
Okay.
So you're good.
That's good. Adds a little flavor to the conversations.
Well, here is my advice is when relevant, learn how to turn them into your unpaid sales force. These trolls, these haters, these absolute loser, basement dweller, Cheeto stained fingered nobodies who talk trash about you with no profile picture and no videos of their own on YouTube and elsewhere. If this is a great example, we're turning this into a podcast, and now this person's only notoriety will be to be known as the anonymous loser who posted the question, "Where are your muscles?" And as a result, you'll probably end up getting a bunch more fans. People will buy from you, and they will marvel at your muscles. We do not know where the muscles are of the commenter because he didn't have a profile picture. But presumably they are hidden deep within him, not showing themselves. So yeah, long story short, great way to do it is mockery and making them completely irrelevant, if not ignoring them. Sometimes ignoring them makes sense. Other times taking advantage of the opportunity that they give you is better. I've done that a few times, and let me tell you something. People will love you for it if you can do that.
Right. And let me say a couple other things. I guess I used to be a lot more idealistic when I was young, in the sense that I didn't care much for censorship. This might surprise people now, since most people are probably familiar with my largely, libertarian leanings, or at least former libertarian leanings. But yeah, it ain't free speech in Pat Flynn's world anymore. It just isn't. Over the years, I've realized that if you don't have anything productive or constructive to say, and it's not that I don't want criticism. Criticism is always fine. But if you're just if you really are just being annoying, being adult, being provocative for the sake of provocative, I have I don't even know if it's a one strike policy, because if somebody is that way on any of my platforms and who follows me on Facebook, who's in the Strong On group, who's on my email list, they're gone, and they're gone forever. And this surprises people, because sometimes people will send some kind of whiny, annoying email, and they'll be gone. They'll be banned for life, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't." You know, say sorry. You don't have some inherent right to do business for me or consume my content. You just don't. And I've gotten very stringent into that over the years, because I think it's really important. And this is, I guess, advice for people who are creating their own communities online, especially when it comes to Strong On, is there's a certain culture that I want and that I think is really important. And I take very seriously the idea that the weeds can easily overgrow the garden and ruin the garden. So I prune ruthlessly these days, far more ruthlessly than I ever did in the past, because in the past I kind of just let the weeds run amok, and it never bothered me personally. But then I realized it was ruining the experience for other people, that it was damaging other people's specifically for them, that other people were afraid to post content or share what they wanted to think, especially in like Facebook groups. YouTube's stupid. I don't actually do a whole lot on YouTube, but on the other platforms where I do, other people were becoming hesitant to enter into the conversation. And that to me was unacceptable at that point. Like, if you're frustrating my actual good community members, then you're out, bud. You're gone. And then the other thing to say is, like, if like the only thing you have to contribute to a conversation is just some annoying comment, I know it's cliche, but it does say a lot more about you than it does anybody else. Like, I don't know the household you grew up in, or what long string of failures has brought you to this point of just being this YouTube internet troll, but it's something you need to reflect on. And I mean that in all sincerity. Like, I mean that in a very hopefully caring way. I'm annoyed by people like this, but I want you to reflect on that and ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? Why am I acting like a petulant child? And how do I fix myself? Because this isn't a position that you want to be in. So there are my opening remarks there, Alex. Let's throw it back your way now.
I think you're absolutely right. And regarding the community thing, I think is especially important when it comes to like an email list. It's like everybody's getting the emails independently, even if it's the same thing. But if it's a Facebook group or something like that, and you have a community on there and people are messing it up, there's a line from the New Testament that I think actually sums this up pretty well.
Thump the Bible, baby. Let's go.
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So if you've got one person running their mouth in there, all it's going to do is mess up the rest of the environment in there. I've been very fortunate that in my Facebook group, I've really never had a problem with that. Never had to tell anybody, watch it, be respectful, be kind. But I'm sure that the time is going to come when I'll have to. Someone will wander in and will push my buttons, and they're going to find that all of them are ejection seats. So they are going to be out immediately. And the big thing that's important about that too is that people have this, especially with social media, for whatever reason, because you're more easily connected to people from all over the place. People think that they're entitled to your time in some way, or they're entitled to your work, or they're entitled to anything, and they're not. Like, it is a privilege to be able to not only consume the free stuff that I have, but to buy anything that I have. And that's not something that I take away from people, in a petty way. But if people are being rude, like, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't know. I mean, and sometimes people will send you something that is kind of like ignorant, but they're not trying to be that way. So you can forgive them. There are other people who are just looking to try to prove themselves. And for the people who are kind of new to putting out content or trying to grow their online presence, do not kowtow to these people. You need to ban them immediately. Don't even explain to them that they're banning them. Just let them find themselves out in the lurch, and that's all there is to it.
Right. Yes. The other thing I want to say is that for anybody who wants to become a content producer, the way you should impress people, or you should focus on impressing people, is not what you've done for yourself, but what you can do for them. And this is something I try to take very seriously. I have flaunted the Pat Flynn physique from time to time. I have. I've done it. You can go through my, feeds and my stuff. You'll find the shameless selfies here and there. But I've gotten away from that because it's really not important. Well, first off, I'm not a bodybuilder. I never have claimed to be, right? I'm a fitness generalist. I actually have always liked the kind of scrawny, well, I'm Irish, right? Fight Club type of physique. There's something that's always been aesthetically pleasing to me about that. The physique that it definitely like that sort of Irish brawler physique, but then you can still do a lot of really cool, strong stuff. That's actually or a Bruce Lee type of physique. Those have always been like a martial arts physique has always been the sort of aesthetic intrigue to me. I've never bodybuilding's cool, but I also understand my own limitations, right? I am a skinny Irish bastard. I am who grew up chunky. Like it's not in the wheelhouse for Pat Flynn genetically to ever be, and I never wanted to be a bodybuilder. So if you're already judging me by that standard, I've already got nothing for you anyways. That's just not what I do. It's never what I've done. And what I'm really getting at is as a trainer, as a coach, or a content producer, impress people by how you serve them, by focusing on the stuff that you can give them. I want people to be impressed by me, by doing my programs, by getting the results that my programs give them, and also seeing the results that I get consistently for other people, which if anybody's a part of my community, especially the Strong On group, you're going to see people talking about their progress all the time. That's something that means a lot more to me, and I hope means a lot more to other people, and harkens back to our previous conversation, is that when you're looking for good coaches and mentors, yes, you do want to see them, adhering to a lot of what they're preaching to a reasonable extent. But what you really want to see is, are they able to get results consistently for other people? So I guess there's 2 points of one point of clarification and also another point of advice. Because if you just focus on you, look what I can do, look how I look, people are eventually going to get bored of that. I promise you, because most people really only care about what's the old cliche, right? People listen to one radio station like WIIFM, FM, what's in it for me or whatever. And that's true, right? They want to know, like, what can you do for me? And so yes, as a content producer, keep your focus there. So that's what I had to say about that. What about you, Alex? This is
I agree.
Agreement Cast, so choose your words carefully. Good. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm always amazed because there are certain people that I follow on Instagram, all of which above average, attractive women who post stuff, fitness related stuff, and it's like the picture that we'll post is completely contrary to like the message of, like that they write in there, like believe in yourself, trust in yourself. And it's just like a picture of her looking like amazing on a beach. And you're like, is that actually like
reach for the stars, follow your dreams. You can do anything.
All the hackneyed crap. And then some of them I know for a fact don't even speak good English. So I'm like, who's writing this stuff for you? Like, because this didn't come out of your head. But that aside, it is very important to help other people. And so if your focus is on helping others, I mean, you can look good in the process. Pat and I sure do. But if you're focused on helping other people and someone, says something about you on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or something like that, it's not going to faze you as much because you know that your focus is not on trying to prove yourself. It's trying to improve others. And, it's like the old saying goes that nobody erects statues to critics, and they are a dime a dozen. There are people who are all too happy to tell you everything you're doing wrong. And, you don't even know these people. So number one, you don't owe them a response. But number two, if you do respond, here's a technique. You don't respond directly to them. You do like what Pat is doing. You send it out to the people who do follow you, and you mock these people ceaselessly. I had somebody send me an email, just aghast at my one-on-one consultation prices. And this was earlier this year. Pat, I think I sent it to you, and you had a good chuckle at it. And Pat said I didn't go far enough, and I thought I really put as much dirt on this guy's grave as I possibly could. But but Pat is far more vengeful than I. Pat's been doing this longer, so I guess I understand that. But
I've toned it down in the years. Mostly because I also don't have to. Like you said before, Alex, real quick, and I'll let you finish your point. Is that it doesn't surprise me that you haven't had to correct too many people in your Facebook group, because we both have now like 10 years of culling behind us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's significant, right? Like I've had over 10 years of just refining my audience, of just, been building that culture. So I actually don't have to do a whole lot of policing these days. I really don't. Like it's pretty much just what it is, and I'm very happy with it. And so I'm sure it's the same with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Periodically, somebody will pop in unannounced, like this guy who's whining about my rates. So what I did is I wrote an email the very next day, and I didn't make fun of him personally, but I like took apart everything that he said, because he sent me like more than a paragraph. One of the things is he was saying, I'm sure you're familiar with, maybe you've heard of Dan John. He puts lots of free stuff out there. Then I just included a picture of me with Dan John. I'm like, boy, Dan is going to be red-faced when I yell at him for taking the thousands of dollars of my money to learn directly from him at his seminars that he charged me for. I mean, how could I have, like, he's got stuff for free on YouTube. It's like the same thing, right? Like, so I just made fun of the very notion that, that charging for something that you're very good at is, especially charging a fair rate, is ridiculous, because Dan doesn't work for free. He puts lots of free stuff out, but so do I, and so do you. So it's like, I mean, it was a completely dumb point.
But it's also rude. Like, let's be honest. Like,
yeah.
You don't go to your dentist and be like, "Yo, doc, fill this cavity for me," and then you get a bill and be like, "How dare you?
Yeah, this is a service.
How dare you?" It's funny. And since I'm a business owner, I actually tend to be, I think, more sensitive to this than most. That, like, here, I'll give you a great example, right? So here's the Chick-fil-A coffee. Absolutely, it's pure liquid garbage. It is, but I like it, and it's free. It's free at Chick-fil-A. It's free coffee fall at our local Chick-fil-A. But like, there's something inside of me of being a business owner that, like, even when I go get this coffee, I still feel like I need to buy something. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about me that just rebels from just taking advantage of free stuff. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. I have no issue if people come and you consume my free content, you never buy anything from me, as long as you're not annoying and a jerk. I hope it serves you. I really do. But I guess just all the years of the people who just not only, just consume, take advantage of free content, but then complain that you actually run a business. It makes you want to put your head through a piece of drywall. So that's why, like, even when I go to get my free coffee at Chick-fil-A, I still want to just support the business. And so I'll buy, like, whatever. It's not, I try to get something that isn't completely radically fattening, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I go for the hash browns, I'll be honest, right?
Yeah, why not?
Gotta put the muscle on, apparently, right, Aleks?
Absolutely. Hash browns are great for that. I'll amend what you said just one way. It doesn't make me want to put my head through drywall. It makes me want to put their head through drywall. That's about the only thing we're going to disagree on in this otherwise agree cast. But
fair enough.
But yeah, and actually, it's funny you should say that. I have a good friend like since 6th grade who does my photography for, like, when I do, like, new products and stuff like that. And I asked him, I'm working on a project right now, kettlebell mastery. And it's going to take several sessions. We've already gotten like 2 of them out of the way. And I was like, how much do I owe you for an hour's worth of work? And he's like, well, you can pay me this amount. I'm like, okay, what do you charge people you don't like? Like, I want to pay you what you're worth. Like, I'm not hiring you it is because you're my friend, but I want to support you because you're my friend. And I want to pay you whatever you would otherwise charge. I don't want it to be a liability for you to work with me, knowing that you're going to spend the same amount of time, do the same amount of work, and not make as much money. I want to pay you what you're worth. And I think, being a business owner makes it so that I'm much more sensitive to that sort of a thing. And people who, I'll say this, but I'll amend it momentarily. But people who don't buy anything from you shouldn't have any say in how you sell things or run your business. In fact, even the people who do buy things from you shouldn't have any say in it, because if you let these people, even if they're great people, they don't know how to run your business. Like, they could end up running it up on the rocks. And it's not because they're mean-spirited or whatever, but it's like, they don't know what it takes in order for your business to be successful. So they're giving advice based on I mean, I'm not saying they're giving you advice based on ignorance, but it's not malicious ignorance. It's like well-meaning ignorance.
Right. You can't just assume there's a lot of good stuff there. I want to break this up, right? One is, yeah, absolutely. If somebody's complaining and they're not a customer, believe me, I ain't losing a wink of sleep over that. Because it's just not relevant. That's not the type of person I'm trying to appeal to anyways, right? At the end of the day, again, I hope I can serve you. If you don't become a customer, I hope you use my content. But again, especially if you're annoying, it's a different story. However, just because you're a customer doesn't make you an expert, right? So as a business owner, hopefully as a business owner, you've studied all the different skills that are necessary for business success, from marketing to persuasion to management, et cetera. And it doesn't mean you don't ever want to get feedback from your customers in relevant ways, but it doesn't mean you want to let your customers run your business any more than the cancer doctor should be taking advice from the patient.
Exactly.
That makes sense, right? Right.
Yeah.
If that's how you're running your business, you haven't studied business. Again, there's relevant times where you do want feedback from your customers on certain things, but that's no way to run the business. So I guess, yeah, that's just another aside on the business front. Like, you have to be clear of what the skills are for running a business, and you have to get good at that. And sometimes you'll of course want your customers to be happy. That's a given, right? So this is how to deal with the haters and losers. It just doesn't even matter at the end of the day. And here's another thing to keep in mind for newcomers, right? Is that I don't know exactly what the ratio is, but it's got to be, I don't know. Maybe Alex, take a guess, like 10-1. Or let's put it like this, right? Somebody, if they have something negative to say, is always like 10 times more likely to actually say it than the people who think nice things about you.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And think about it in your own experience, right? And I try to make sure that I don't do this. Like, if you have a really bad experience at something, you're just more likely to speak out about it, or if you're more annoyed than if you have a good experience. And I try to remember that, like, when I'm going to like restaurants and stuff, that to make sure that I actually speak out about the good experiences more and leave more good reviews and stuff like that. So I don't know what the ratio is, but I probably, for any one person who leaves a nasty, naggy, annoying comment, there's probably 10 people who didn't leave a comment, but if they did, it would have been very nice or very supportive or something like that, right? And it's hard to measure that exactly, but it is a thing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And smart business owners take advantage of that. Now, I've been doing a bit more of that. Like, I've got my Facebook group, and if people post about how they had a great workout, or they post about like a PR that they hit as a result of one of the programs of mine that I'm doing, I'll take a screenshot of it, because this is something that they're excited to share. And there are a lot of people who are, maybe would prefer not to share, even if they're getting great results. And maybe I'll get like an email directly from them, or I'll ask them and they'll tell me. So you want to be on the lookout for things like that, because it's something like, I could be wrong about this. I think Dan Kennedy said it was like even sometimes 25 positive experiences for every one negative, or it's like 25 times more likely that you'll get a negative comment than a positive one, because when you're doing your job right, people are they're like, oh, well, that's what he's supposed to do. But if you were savvy about it, regardless of your business, you'll capitalize on it. Like, I remember many years ago in Jerusalem, it was my favorite coffee place, was in their open air market in Machane Yehuda, and I think it was called Cafe Roasters. And it was it's like a small little place, like almost like a kiosk just carved out in there. And I took this gal there who was visiting, and the owner was like, how are you enjoying your coffee? I'm like, it's great. This is my favorite place. He's like, awesome. He said, would you mind writing a review? And he handed me his phone. It was open to like, I think it was like TripAdvisor or something like that. And the guy had like 130 positive reviews on there. So he's probably doing this like day in and day out. And he's like, go ahead and, use my phone to write. He just made it as easy as possible for you to record your good experience. And I thought that was great. I think it's a very smart idea to do that.
Right. Time for the big reveal. People want to know, where are the muscles?
Oh, there it is. That's an actual life-size photo, by the way. He was standing 60 feet tall in the middle of the Coliseum. I know I was there because I took the picture. So
haters will say it's photoshopped, Alex. Now, look, if you're on the podcast, you're missing something that is a YouTube exclusive right now.
Yeah, it is. Pat looking jacked and juicy, brother. Completely shredded beyond belief.
Look at the size of those kettlebells too.
Yeah.
Apparently, I left my shoes at the hotel, but
yeah. So, folks, I think that's all the proof you need. Case closed.
never have to deal with
Open and shut case.
Never have to deal with another one of those horrendous hate-filled comments again.
Hopefully, they will crawl back into the cave from whence they came and never return again.
Good stuff. Big boys. All right. Hey, before we go, Aleks, this has been a fun one. It's been an episode that hopefully first off, let me just say that for everyone who's like, I know how many good, awesome people follow this show, support them. I know you're there. I love you. Believe me, I'm not upset about any of this. I actually hope that this episode will serve all of you who are out there and who want to put content out on the internet. And I think you should. I think you should absolutely do that. And you should just just have the right expectations and just keep these little tidbits in mind and realize that it's the internet is a wild west. It really is. It's not actually as bad as it used to be. I feel like it was even worse like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
but
I think the edges of the internet have gone to places like 4chan and Reddit, and they just congregate in a couple of areas.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, part of it, maybe is just that so many of these social media places have become less organic in the sense that it's harder to just reach random people on the internet these days, which is like a pro and a con, right? Because if you're just trying to build your audience on YouTube or Facebook, it's just a lot more difficult unless you're willing to pay for advertising to reach new people than it was just a number of years ago. Now, the upside of that is you're just less likely to get a lot more random trolls on your stuff. So, little bit of good, a little bit of bad. But that's neither here nor there. Aleks, before we go, what did you work out today? What do you got planned for the Thanksgiving holiday? You got any big mega routines coming up?
Well, in terms of just like celebrations or business
what are you doing?
Stuff.
Crushing calories, my friend. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, well, I mean, you can be sure that I will be crushing more calories than my entire family combined. We're doing a smaller Thanksgiving this year. It's just going to be my parents, my brother, and I. And usually we do like a big family Thanksgiving, but for a variety of probably predictable reasons, we're not going to do that. But it is going to be a good one. My mom just the other day, she said she'd gotten the turkey. She got a smaller one, which I wasn't happy about, but I was like, makes sense because my parents eat, like, honestly, like when we eat and I'm like with them, I could very easily finish like their food as well. And my food is already like double the size of what they're eating. So
I'm not exaggerating when I say that I don't know if I've ever met anyone who can eat as much as you do.
Yeah.
I've met big eaters in my day, but ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had the opportunity to dine with Aleks and see his sheer capacity, it's impressive. It's very impressive.
He's not lying, folks. I know how to pack it away, and the reason why.
What was that, real quick? What was that burger that you ate that one time? You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So I was in Rome last year, and my friend Eduardo's parents, I was staying with them because Eduardo was living in Berlin at the time, but his parents were like, yeah, you're our guest, you can stay here. So we all went out as like a big family thing. So it was like his brother and his brother's wife and some other family members and friends, and there was a burger there that was literally a kilo of meat, and I like annihilated it. And there's a before and after picture. I had one guy wrote like, I hope to meet somebody one day who looks at me the way you're looking at that burger. But what was funny is I think there was somebody at a table nearby. By the way, if you ever want to go to this restaurant in Rome, it's called Il Macellaio, which is like a Roman accented way of saying the butcher. And it's just meat galore. And but there was this really big dude like on the other table. It looks like he ordered something maybe smaller than mine, and I don't think he finished it. And meanwhile, like me, I was probably 164 pounds, 165 pounds. I like just thrashed this burger. And to me, it wasn't all that strange. It wasn't a question of whether or not I was going to finish it. Everybody else was like, you know, like nobody else really seemed to believe. But you know what, folks, if you believe in yourself in the same way that I believe in my ability to house burgers, you will go very far.
That is a great note to end on. I can see my kids are about to come invade me right now. So gentle listeners, please like, comment, subscribe. I hope this episode was helpful in some random but inspiring way. And we'll catch you next time right here on The Pat Flynn Show.
Adios.